2. Okay, all right.
There we go.
All right.
Folks to come back in.
Yes, we're going to give some time so everybody can just jump back in here. Only thing is that we... Here we go. Now, does it start? All right. Here we go. Okay. We're going to wait for a few more people to get some people in there. There they go. Sorry about that, everyone. We don't have control over the internet. Everything was working, but it is what it is. We're going to continue. So if you guys can share, this this live for someone that may be thinking about buying a house, has questions about home purchasing, questions about banks, loan officing. Obviously, we're going to be asking some questions to Marcus that are pertinent to, purchasing a home, para comprar una casa. So esto es un broadcast. Perdónenos que tomó un tiempo, perdón que hubo esa interrupción, pero nada, vamos a darle con todo ahora. Como le había dicho, para aquellos que se están conectando ahora, este es mi hijo Marcus Díaz, de TCB, y eso ha sido su profesión desde el 2023. As we said, Marcus Díaz is a loan officer for TCB since 2023, and tonight we're just going to be talking about a topic. A topic, like I said, that people don't like to touch. I know it was freezing up a little bit, so I just wanted to go back and make sure that we got that information. And we just want to jump in to just ask some questions. I think us as Christians, as believers, we have this misconception that we shouldn't be thinking about like material things, and that we take the word humble out of context. But if we go into the book of Joshua, because again, these are heavenly conversations, so where everything ties into God's perfect will in our lives. And it's just good to be educated. It's very good to be educated. The book of Joshua 1:8, I love what it says. It says, keep this book of the law always on your lips. Meditate on it day and night. Then you will be prosperous and successful. So God gives a promise, right? That for those that seek him, those that seek his presence, those that seek him, like the Bible does also say, it says, seek the kingdom of God and his justice, and everything else will follow. Well, those things that follows are husband, wives, children, cars, and houses, and the house, who doesn't want to be a homeowner?
Right. It's part of the American dream.
It's a part of the American dream, and it should be part of our prayer and our dream.
Right.
So I'm just going to get in here. I'm just going to dive right into some questions for you, Marcus.
Sure.
What does home ownership have to do with purpose or calling?
Yeah. That's a pretty deep question.
Mm-hmm.
It was one that I was thinking about. And I think that it's a deeply personal question, so I can explain for myself. For me, purchasing a home or the role of the purpose, it really comes to what you want or what you want from life or what your values are. For me, having the home, it allows me to, one, start my family.
Yep.
I know in, I believe it's Matthew 7:24-27, it talks about building a strong foundation.
Yep.
And how can you build a strong foundation if you're not stable in your home or where you're living?
Yep.
So that was one thing. Also, when it comes to purpose, it creates like stewardship, which you have to be responsible for. Obviously, with home ownership, you have to be responsible with your finances. It allows you to build values for your family too.
Yep. That's all biblical. Because the Bible just talked to us about being good stewards.
Right.
And it's not only good stewards of, cooking. It's your time, it's your finances, it's your credit, it's everything that it involves, right? The Lord wants us to be an example in everything that we do. Everything, right? So, as we mentioned, you are a homeowner. And as his mother, I'm so proud to say that he bought his house before age 30.
Yeah.
And you did this on your own. Like your own credit, your own money.
It was tough.
Everything. But you did it all, you know. And so you've been an example of someone that really, you know, had this goal in your mind, you had this prayer, you had this desire, and you obtained it through hard work and discipline.
Right.
You know? So can you tell me a story of someone who thought, because a lot of people think that they are not prepared, they're not capable, they're not ready to purchase a home. And I'm sure that in your daily work, you've seen people that thought that they couldn't buy a house, right? Whether it's because they thought they didn't have the money or the credit or just the ability, anything, but ended up becoming a homeowner.
Of course. So yeah, there is a lot of examples of this.
Yes.
And even though I love all my borrowers, so if anybody's watching, I love all of you.
Yes.
But one of my favorite stories.
There's no preference, but we're choosing one.
I love all of y'all.
Yeah.
But there is one story, and I did ask permission before I share this story, but it's from Katie and Andres, some of our members here at the church, the Church of God Brockton.
Yes.
And it was a story that it really helped me with my faith as well, because there's a lot of hurdles throughout the process, and you know, God revealed himself in a lot of ways. He revealed himself.
Wow.
So, yeah, Katie reached out to me and was saying that, you know, she really wanted to start her home buying purchase. her process. Mm-hmm. And she didn't think she would be able to get approved for much. But, you know, as we ran her numbers, you know, we saw that she was approved for a decent amount. And, you know, some of the hurdles we saw throughout the process was that she wanted to apply for this lottery. And, at first, on paper, she was over income.
Oh.
You know? So the first process was getting her, you know, income certified, which, you know, one of the ways that God made himself apparent, because she shouldn't have qualified on paper, but she did.
Wow.
You know, that happened. And then throughout the process, there were just so many hurdles that we went through. Not going to get into all of them. If she wants to share with you, she can.
Yeah.
But, But yeah, Katie and Andres, they didn't think they were doing it. And not only did they purchase, but they ended up with a lot of down payment assistance and, you know, some other benefits that we're going to go through.
Wow. So they were so God really showed up in their lives.
Yeah, he did.
God really showed up in their lives. And this is just an example of one couple that thought that they wouldn't be able to do it. But with prayer, with diligence, with guidance, you know, everything is possible, you know. So let's talk a little bit about first time, you know, home buyer education. And we did a conference in our church a while back. And we talked about like surface level stuff.
It was
very
surface level, you know, what a mortgage payment is, what a mortgage is, things that, you know, you kind of find out later in the process. But
But I want to dig a little deeper into some questions, like some misconceptions and you know, what people really need and how to prepare themselves. And this is for everyone who really just, you know, even if you know someone, you should be sharing this and telling them you should be listening to this podcast, because this is what it's about. Anyway, so what are the biggest misconceptions people have about buying a home?
Yeah, so there's three big ones. One, you need to have a lot of money for down payment. Not true. You don't need to have a ton of money, all right? Think about a house that you want to buy and multiply that by 0.015, that's 1.5%, and that's what you're going to need just to get started. So if you're thinking about a $300,000 house, if I'm not mistaken, what is that? Less than $5,000?
Wow.
You know, about $5,000 to really get started.
Wow.
The second one I would say is that you need to have perfect credit. You don't need to have perfect credit. It just can't be horrendous. You know, don't have $80,000 in credit card bills. If you have yourself a decent score of about 600-ish, you're good to go. You can start doing your process.
Oh, wow.
And the third, I would say, is that when people have doubts that it's not for them or the process is too complicated, it's really not that complicated. You just need to build the right team around you and have the right support system to really guide you through the process.
Yep. Oh, somebody said they're $4,000. Andrew Diaz, $4,500. Look at that.
Go. Less than
even
$5,000.
Less than $5,000.
There you go.
So it's wow. Okay. And the fact that I feel, because we bought our house in 2016. 2016. And I think back then you needed a higher credit score.
Yeah, you needed about so FHA at that time was about 640, I want to say.
Yep. Okay, so things have gotten a little bit more
more
flexible
lenient.
and lenient, and so all right, so that's another misconception, that you need a lot of money, which clearly you don't need all this ton of money.
Nope.
And you don't need perfect credit. You just need to have decent credit, 600 and over, and what else?
That it's not impossible to achieve. Don't have like the negative mindset that it's too hard for you or it's not attainable for you, because you can get through it. You just need to have the right support system and get the right resources given to you.
Awesome. And now this is another question. Do you really need 20% down payment?
No, absolutely not. I didn't have 20%.
Neither did I.
Nope. I put 3% down on my house.
Yes. I think that me and your dad put
5%?
I don't even know how much it was. It wasn't much.
I'm pretty sure it was 3.5%.
I think it was 3.5%. Yeah, I think it was like 3.5% too. Right. That we went. So some people are always saying, "Oh, you need 10%, 20% down." You don't. And this is what this Heavenly Conversations are about: to give you the knowledge, to give you the equipment, the materials that you need to make, responsible, wise decisions. Okay, so let me ask you this other question. What does the home buying process actually look like from start to finish? So walk us through the beginning and the end.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to skip the first-time homebuyer class because not everyone's going to take it, but I recommend you take a first-time homebuyer class. Yeah. Because that's going to open up all the first-time homebuyer mortgages and the down payment assistance. Mm-hmm. So I would say start there.
Taking class.
Take a class. Get a certificate. Okay. Even if you're not, maybe you don't think you're qualified for the assistance, just take it just for the knowledge itself. Okay. Just so you know what the terms are. But from there, you're going to speak with a lender like myself. We're going to run your numbers, get your pre-approval. Mm-hmm. At that point, we're going to connect you with a realtor if you don't have one. I'd recommend you speak to your loan officer for a realtor, because they're going to know if they're doing particular programs. They're going to know the realtors that know how to do their programs. Yes. Not every realtor knows how to do a first-time homebuyer program with down payment assistance. Then from there, you're going to put in offers. You're going to look at houses. Hopefully, you find your dream home. You're going to put in an offer. If your offer gets accepted, you're going to do a home inspection, which is going to reveal some issues. Now Massachusetts required to do a home inspection. Before you didn't have to. Before you could waive it. Yeah. But now you're going to get required to do a home inspection. Oh, okay. If the home inspection goes well, that's when you sign a purchase and sales agreement, which is when your attorney gets involved. So that kind of ties into having the right support system in the team. Correct. Like you want to have a good realtor, a good lender, and a good attorney. From there, you get your purchase and sale agreement, or if you're in the business, it's called a P&S. P&S, yeah. That's just your contract that you're going to buy the house. Yep. And then from there, that's where the real fun begins, because now we're going to start processing your loan. You're going to go through underwriting. And then if all goes well, you get to close on your house and you get your keys, you get to move in. Yay. And all that in about how much time? From start to finish, I'd say a month and a half, 45 days. Wow. The longest process is going to be finding your home and getting accepted offer. Oh, wow. Okay. So it's not even the process of processing everything. It's finding the house that God is going to bless you with, putting in that offer, getting it accepted. Yep. And then moving forward. Exactly. One of the things that you said, Marcus, that is very, very important, and I hope you guys understand this. Don't just choose a realtor and then go to a mortgage lender. No. Make that, turn that around. Yep. Get a good mortgage right here. Yep. Mortgage lender, a loan officer that will walk you through the process and tell you what you actually qualify for, the programs. And like he said, then allow them to kind of guide you through as who's a good realtor that's going to understand the concept, the terminologies, those programs. Because if not, they're not really going to help you out in that. No. A realtor is going to point you to their favorite loan officer, and their favorite loan officer is the person who can get you approved for the highest amount. Which we're going to talk about that, because that's not always the best thing. No, absolutely not. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Y como quiero hablarle un tema, lo voy a decir en español un poquitito. Una de las cosas que mi hijo estaba hablando es, número uno, uno no necesita gran cantidad de dinero. Usualmente es 3%. 1.5%. O un 1.5%. Entonces, tampoco necesita
un crédito perfecto, ¿ok? También lo importante de cada uno de ustedes entender es tener un buen banco. Well, that's good too. A nice boat to stream
to navigate you.
Yeah, to navigate you. Pero un banco, un loan officer. Aquí tenemos uno, ¿verdad? Para que lo ayude a ustedes, hablarle a ustedes qué es lo que ustedes cualifican, la cantidad que cualifican, los programas que hay. Entonces, él te refiere a un realtor, ¿verdad? Para que ustedes no tengan que estar buscando a alguien que no conoce, ¿verdad? De los programas que están ahí. Es bien importante trabajar con un banco primero. Y por eso él está aquí. Eso es lo que él hace, ¿verdad? Y no estoy diciendo a él para que ustedes vayan a donde él, pero de verdad que es bueno. No porque sea mi hijo. Entonces, él te camina en ese proceso. Pero eso es una parte muy importante. One of the things that I also seen and heard is that it's important to be very careful about people running your credit. Because doesn't it get dinged?
Yeah, so your credit does get dinged. Usually there's like a 2-week window called the grace window where you get your first credit pull for a loan. And then that's what you call like the shopping period, like the rate shopping. You can do that for the first 2 weeks, but it doesn't look good after that because it looks like you can't get approved for a loan.
Okay.
And then also, you drop your credit score.
Yes.
And then I don't want to say a good bank, but any bank that's doing the due diligence is going to ask you for a letter explaining why you had so many credit pulls. So it just creates more paperwork.
So go to the right people.
Right.
My son, Marcus Díaz. Anyway, let's continue. So what should someone do first if they're thinking about buying a house within the next 6 to 12 months? Like, what should they do? What should they do first?
I guess the first thing is take into account what your financial situation is. Like, look at your spending.
So your finances.
Right.
Yep.
Take a look at your finances and be realistic about how much you think you can afford on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to go to a bank and just ask for the highest amount.
Yes.
What you want to do is make sure that you're going to be living within your means. Take a look at your credit score. See if there's anything you have to fix there.
Yes.
Make sure there's no delinquent accounts, things like that. Make sure your savings is doing well.
Yes.
Yeah, I think those are the main ones, the main things.
Yes. She said, I have a question. This is Bianca. If you qualify for home down payment assistance, let's just see here.
You still need the 1 to 3% for closing costs. Also, can you start going to a loan officer if you don't have 1 to 3%? So if you're getting down payment assistance, any decent loan officer, such as myself, will use some of your down payment assistance to cover your closing costs. So a lot of the programs that give you down payment assistance, that down payment assistance can be split. It doesn't have to all be for down payment assistance. So what I usually do is I usually set aside about 2% of that down payment assistance amount just for closing costs.
Oh, wow.
And you don't necessarily have to have your 1 to 3%. I talk to people all the time and run numbers for folks who don't have their savings yet. And that's one of the things that a loan officer can help you plan out is say, your income is well, your credit score is good. Let's just work on the savings now.
Okay. So see, this is why it's important to speak to professionals, right? Don't go to a real estate agent who's just going to show you houses.
Right.
You need to talk to professionals first to kind of like dot your I's, and cross your T's and make sure that you're doing the things in the proper order. That's awesome. So that's what they should do in the first 6 to 12 months is just kind of prepare the finances. What should they do?
Prepare finances. Look at your credit score. That's a big thing. There's a lot of things that pop up on a credit score that you don't think are there, like either fraudulent accounts or delinquent accounts. Clear those things up. Try to start saving.
Yeah.
I would say save up that first $4,000 to $5,000 just so you're in the kind of that 3%, that 1.5% range.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, I think those are the two main things to really start doing.
Oh, we saved as we went through the process. I think she said, they saved as well.
So saving throughout the process, that's another good step you can start to do.
That's what we did as well too. My husband and I, once we were approved and we were going through that process of purchasing our house, we hit it hard, like just to keep savings. We didn't buy nothing. Yeah. We packed and saved, and just prepared us for the closing.
Right. And if you're thinking 6 to 12 months out, take that first time homebuyer class because they're going to go over all the financials that we look for. Yes. They're going to tell you they're going to go through your bank statements. They're going to help you go through your your financials. They're going to help you pull your credit or just get a free credit report.
Yeah.
And they're going to go through all these things and tell you what a loan officer is going to look at before you even speak to one.
Correct. So whoever has not had a home, a first-time home buyer class, take one. And I think your bank doesn't take it.
We don't do them, so they're through nonprofit organizations.
But
there's a lot of them. Look up CHAPA certified nonprofits that teach the classes. You'll find a whole list of them.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome to know. Now, what role does credit play, and how can someone improve it?
Okay, so credit does play a big role, but not in the way people think. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people think that if I have a high credit score, I'm going to get a better rate. That is true for conventional loans only. So for first-time home buyer loans, once you have the minimum credit score, everybody gets the same interest rate.
Really?
Yep.
I have no idea about that.
The person who has 800 credit score is getting the same rate as the person who has a 650.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. That's interesting.
What really matters is your debt payments. So on your credit, we're looking at things like car payments, student loan payments, credit cards. All those minimum payments add up, and we use that on your back end. So those are the things you want to be careful for, is making sure you don't have an $800 car payment. You know,
when you really can't afford it.
Yeah, you can't afford it. It's taking up half your salary. That's a no-go. You want to, take a look at your credit and try to lower the things you can lower. All your minimum payments.
Wow. And something that I'm just going to, as you can see, people are making, asking questions. Please feel free to do that. If we can't see it, thankfully we have Sierra right here, and she can ask them for us because we had Switch a Studio and we can see comments, but we had to stop that and go straight into the phone here. So if you have questions, please write them down, and we'll answer them for you. We might not be answering all the questions that you might have, so feel free to put them in the comments. And we're gonna, make sure that we answer them for you. This is why we're having these conversations, just so we can get you the right answers, so you can get yourself in a position to purchase your dream home as well. This is a very important question because you hit it, but we have to talk about it. How do you know how much house you can truly afford, not just qualify for,
right,
but that you can truly afford? Because I remember that we were approved for at that time, $500,000. And we were like, whoa, we can buy a house up to $500,000. That was like a big, that was back then, right? And so, but thank God we did not, we got a house much, much cheaper than that.
Yep.
But how is that important? How do you know how much house you can afford?
Yep. So what you want to do is look at your rent and think about if you're struggling to pay that rent or not. If your rent is $1,600 a month and you feel like that's a comfortable thing to pay, then that's what you want to spend on your monthly mortgage payment.
Oh,
because what you have to factor into that is you're no longer getting called. You no longer have that protection of the landlord to fix things for you.
Correct.
And now you're having to pay property tax, which is another bill on top of that.
Yeah.
Your water bill. So there's more liabilities that come with having a house. So if your rent is something you're comfortable with, do something like that. Maybe $200 more, but no more than that. On paper, we're going to get you to qualify for those $400, $500, $600 homes. But can you really afford that mortgage payment is a real question.
Correct. And I think that's one of the major errors that people, go into. Like they see a house and it's over their income, but they want to get pre-approval, for that amount of money.
Oh, yeah.
And you can get into
sticker shock. I call it sticker shock because people will tell me I want to buy this house and it's $550,000, and I'm telling them, are you ready to spend $3,000 a month on your mortgage payment? And that's when it really starts to click. That's where they're just like, oh, it's going to be that much. I'm like, yeah, but on top of that, you're going to pay your property tax, you're going to pay your water bill, you're going to pay your electric. And everything else that goes with it. And out here, you're going to pay oil as well. So
it's not about how much you were approved for. It's how much you can afford.
Yep.
Keep
it affordable.
Keep it affordable, because honestly, when the banks look and they do say you do qualify for this big amount, again, that's great to hear. But, when it comes down to what Marcus said, what you actually can afford and comfortable with, that you know that you're going to be able to do this, whether, we have a little tough time paying our bills, you're going to, know that you'll be able to pay your mortgage.
Yep.
And so this is why it's important first to go to a mortgage lender, not a real estate agent.
No.
Don't go talking to real estate agents. They do not know the banks and the situations. Real estate agents come in when they're referred by a mortgage lender, a bank that they know, that's trustworthy, that knows, because again, not all real estate agents, like you said, knows these programs.
No, I get calls from agents all the time that when my borrower sent an offer, is like, what is this program that you have them, and I've never heard of it. And like, that's kind of a red flag, because if there's an agent who's been doing deals for the past 20 years and they haven't heard about this program, that's kind of scary. Like, you've been in the real estate market for 20 years, you don't know, like, first-time home buyer programs.
Correct.
And there's two things to really remember. One, your finances better than the bank knows. So your spending habits, how much money you take home, know all of that. And two, when a bank is pre-approving you, we're going based off your gross income. So that's your income before taxes are taken out.
Oh, yes.
Before 401k contributions, before your medical insurance. So we're going based on a salary that's way higher than you're taking home. Take that into consideration when thinking about a mortgage payment.
And again, like you said, if you are comfortable with what you're paying in rent now, or even someone that has a home and wants to buy another one, right? Because that's still the same thing, right? You want to stay within, let's just say I want to sell this one and go into another one. It's also important that I stay with what I'm comfortable now, with what I'm paying now.
Right.
So the same thing happens with your rent. If you're comfortable, then, like he said, do the calculations. And the calculations, you do it with a loan officer.
Right. And a loan officer who's not going to pull your credit. We can do a pre-qualification without pulling your credit, so remember that.
Yes. And actually, I think I saw a comment there that Gloriman, she's a loan officer. I mean, I'm sorry, real estate agent.
Yep.
Real estate agent, not loan officer. Real estate agent. Good to know. So anyway, how should someone prepare financially before buying a house?
We kind of touched about this a little bit.
Yeah.
So 1, start saving.
Yeah.
2, take account of the things you're spending money on that you don't really have to spend money on. Yeah. Because that's going to help you save your money as well. Start looking at your credit.
Yeah. Okay.
Kind of things we've already kind of spoke about.
Yeah. And then what happens, what are some mistakes people make that delay them from buying?
The biggest one that I'm seeing left and right is taking out these car payments.
Oh.
Yeah. Like, I'm sorry to whoever owns a Mercedes, but you shouldn't be renting a home and driving a Mercedes. I mean, renting an apartment, You shouldn't, you don't need a $900 car payment if you're renting a home.
Yes.
The car payment is the biggest thing. Student loans you can't really avoid. So I'm going to give slack on people with student loans because you can't really avoid that now. But the car payments, I'm seeing people with $700-800 car payments, or they're making like $4 or $5 grand a month. Like, that's eating up a lot of your affordability.
That's interesting.
That's a huge one.
And you guys really look at that.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That is a number that we have.
So
we can't ignore car payments, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, that's a big liability. I mean, that's big
liabilities.
responsibility. What are some red flags people should watch out when working with lenders and realtors?
A lender who will refuse to, one, meet with you, either virtually or in person. You should be able to know who your loan officer is. I see a lot of them just saying, apply online. I wouldn't do that. If a loan officer won't speak to you and run your numbers without pulling your credit, that's a red flag. Go find another one. We're all able to run your numbers without pulling credit. We can just take your income over the phone, look at your liabilities, and just take, a word, like, just take your word for it.
Yeah.
Just to give you a rough estimate of what you can qualify for. I'm hearing a lot that people are just, loan officers are being called and they're not running numbers. They're just asking for applications and, kind of ditching people after they pull their credit.
Wow. And then, so they look at a house, they like it, they put an offer, and then...
And some of these loan officers are not really doing their due diligence, so they're giving pre-approvals, and people don't actually qualify for that amount.
And who finds that out? The underwriter?
The underwriter, after it goes through the process.
That's a scary word. Yeah. A scary name, an underwriter. Sounds like an undertaker. It's like the one that... I see that one as the person that says no. And they really do, right? Are they the ones that...
Really, no. Underwriters want to get you approved.
Oh, they do?
They get a bad rap. At least mine does.
Okay, all right. Because mine gave me a hard time.
Right, yeah.
Mine gave me a hard time, so that's why I called him the Undertaker. Because he gave me, but...
And I guess for realtors, one that wants to push you to a direct, like only to one mortgage officer, you know. If you already have a pre-approval and your realtor is saying, no, go to my person, even though you already have a loan officer you're working with, that's kind of a red flag too, I would say.
If a real estate agent is telling you, an agent tells you, go to mine, but you're already working with somebody
exactly
that you're comfortable with. Okay, so those are red flags as well.
Red flag.
And why is that a red flag? Can you explain?
Because it makes you think that, you know, maybe they have some type of like underhanded deal going on, you know?
Okay.
You know, it's like if you're already pre-approved and your loan officer already has your documents, why start the process over with someone else?
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. All right. If someone that's listening to us, that's seeing this live, right, feels ready or even curious, what should they do next? Like, should they, you know, talk to a loan officer? Like, what should they do next if they're just curious?
Yeah, they can do two things. One, you can talk to a loan officer, you know, have somebody just run your numbers for you, like no commitment needed. Definitely don't apply online for a loan officer. I want to stress that. Don't apply online because that loan officer is going to pull your credit. Have a phone conversation. You know, call, you know, there's different places you can call, or you can call me, and we can run your numbers for you and let you know kind of a rough estimate on where you land with a pre-approval. After that, I would say take a first-time home buyer class.
Awesome. Awesome. So there's a lot of possibilities out there for people. And this is another question here. What step, or what's one step that they can take this week, right now, this week, you know, towards becoming a homeowner? Like, what are some things that, just one thing that they can do immediately towards becoming a homeowner?
I would say, one, take a look at your financials. That's a quick and easy one. How much money do you have saved? How much money are you spending? And you can do yourself a free credit report and see what pops up on there.
Oh, Susana just I just saw that thing. It says,
we need to talk.
We need to talk, Marcus.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Take a look at your credit. Make sure there aren't things that don't belong there, you know, because some people are victims of identity fraud. They don't even know until we pull their credit.
You
so
know,
that's
when
something you can do.
It's interesting that it wasn't identity fraud, but it's important to check your credit report, not just your number, the whole report.
Credit Karma is not accurate.
Correct. Yeah. And I think we get one free credit report a year.
Yep, one free credit report per year.
Check your reports at least once a year. It was interesting because when my husband and I were purchasing our house, we didn't know that the business that we had before,
right,
you know, that the person had put the signs up using his social security number.
Right.
Instead of putting it under the LLC, he ran it under
him personally.
Under my husband. So when the business closed down, we thought that everything was good. We didn't get bills. We didn't get any bills, so we didn't know that we owed anything.
Right.
And then when we went to buy a house, this popped up like we owe this amount. And we're like, wait a minute, where did that come from?
When did that pop up? Was it during underwriting or in the pre-approval?
In underwriting.
Oh, so you know what that tells me?
What?
Your loan officer didn't do his due diligence and pulled your credit.
You see? That was 10 years ago.
If your loan officer pulled your credit and did his due diligence, he would have saw that and had you reconcile that before giving you a pre-approval and having you put an offer in.
You see? The things that you know. At that time, my son wasn't a loan officer at that time. If he would have, I think I would have qualified for a few programs. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I don't know if I would have qualified. But these are things to really understand. Estas son cosas que tú tienes que entender. Nosotros tenemos la habilidad y la responsabilidad de chequear nuestro crédito por lo menos una vez al año. Chequeen su crédito completo, su reporte. No le tenga miedo. Hay personas que no miran su crédito porque tienen miedo. Pero ¿sabes qué? Chequéenlo. Asesórense. Porque tú no sabes que tú puedes trabajar con alguien que trabaja en un banco, ¿verdad? Que te puede decir, mira, esta es la forma que te podemos ayudar o que te podemos buscar programas que te ayuden, ¿verdad? Con estos pagos para que tú puedas. Pero hay algunas personas que tienen mal crédito y siguen como que agregándolo porque ya, you know, I already have bad credit, so who cares?
Right.
But there's a way to fix it. Hay forma de uno arreglar su crédito, pero tienes que hablar con personas adecuadas, ¿verdad? Y no dejar que todo el mundo chequee tu crédito. Como dijo Marcos, tú puedes hablar con él y él, sin afectar tu crédito, él puede chequear hasta a donde tú estás.
Yep.
Y no puede chequear sin entrar a tu crédito, ¿verdad? Entonces son cositas que uno tiene que aprender, ¿verdad? Porque desafortunadamente vivimos en un mundo que lo que quieren es dinero, right? Y te prometen Villa y Castilla, chequean tu crédito o no te lo chequean, como en el caso mío, ¿verdad? No chequearon mi crédito completo y salió que se debía algo, ¿verdad? Del negocio que era de mi esposo. Apareció en el último proceso. Gracias a Dios que pudimos pagar y saldarlo, ¿verdad? Y trabajar en eso. Pero en ese entonces yo no sabía la importancia de chequear mi crédito. Ahora no. Now I check my credit, even though I'm a homeowner. You know, I'm a homeowner, but I'm very responsible in checking my credit and maintaining my credit report. So I think that's super important.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And something Andy actually put in the chat: pay down as much debt as you can. Is another good.
What is it again? I'm sorry.
Pay down as much debt as you can.
Pay down as much debt. Yeah. Did anybody else have comments or
questions?
Henry, he asked how he can get a free credit report.
Oh, Henry, they're asking how to
so
get.
There's a government website. I believe it's called freecreditreport.gov or .com. Just Google it. I'll be able to pop up.
Can you put it there in the comments? freecreditreport.com.
I think it's freecreditreport.com.
So usted puede ir freecreditreport.com o freecreditreport.org.
Yep, there it is. freecreditreport.com. Yep.
Yeah. That way, tú puedes chequear. Thank you, Glorimar, for putting it there. Pero tú puedes chequearlo. Y si tú ves algo, Daniel, usted puede hablar con Marcos, ¿verdad? Habla con él. Si usted ve algo ahí medio raro, habla con alguien del banco, ¿verdad? Alguien que es un experto que puede mirar, ¿verdad? Y te puede decir, esto es lo que es.
Yep.
Y puede ayudarte, ¿verdad? Ya sea buscarte forma de bajar ese pagaré o de pagar esa deuda. So it's very important to talk about talk to someone that's professional. Yep. Don't go talking to everybody.
Right. And there's nonprofits that'll help you with your credit. So you don't have to pay like a third-party agency, like one of these like credit, fixer places. You don't have to pay for that.
Yeah.
There is nonprofit agencies that will help you fix your credit.
Wow, mira eso. Que hay organizaciones y programas, ¿verdad? Para usted que tenga tal vez el crédito un poquito, ¿verdad? Malito, por cualquiera sea la situación. Si usted está sufriendo ahí y tiene, ¿verdad? Su crédito no está al nivel a donde debe estar, hay organizaciones que los ayudan a ustedes a trabajar con su crédito y a mejorar también su crédito. That's very valuable information. No sé si alguien más tiene preguntas. Nosotros estamos ya a punto de terminar porque esto es 1 hora. So si alguien tiene una pregunta para Marcos, lo pueden hacer ahora o pueden hablar con él.
Yep.
Nosotros podemos dejar su información y obviamente los que van a la iglesia lo conocen, ¿verdad? Pero si tienen familiares, si tiene personas de la familia, amigos que están, preguntando sobre su casa, o sea, desean más información. What was that? I'm scared to get myself into like buying a house if I still got to pay my student loans.
Yeah, let me see.
So basically
pay off my loans first. We're getting a house, right? My credit is good. Gracias a Dios. I know it's a weird question. So, it's not that all debt is bad. It's how much income you have versus your debt. So that's more of like a personal question. So I'm not going to ask what your car payment is, how much you make. Yeah. But you don't necessarily have to pay off these things. It's all about a balance. So even if you have a car loan and you have a student loan, maybe you don't want a house that's that expensive. Maybe you're able to support a mortgage and the car payments. So that's something that we can speak about or we talk to a loan officer, that they'll be able to help you navigate and do those numbers for you.
Okay.
So you don't necessarily have to pay them off.
Okay. Yeah, so it's more of speaking to a loan officer, right? And having them kind of see what your income is versus your expenses.
Versus your expenses, right.
It's that income, what is it called, that
ratio?
It's
debt to income.
Debt to income ratio.
Yep,
right?
Debt to income ratio.
So that's something that, Lynette, if you want to ask direct, he can certainly give you his number and that, he can answer any questions you have. Leti preguntó aquí que si Marcos, tú cobras por la consulta.
For you, I want pupusas as payment.
Ay, Leti, ahí tiene pupusa. That's it. Solamente el pupusa.
But no, I don't charge to help people with finding a loan or getting a loan. Not at all.
No, él no cobra nada por consulta, nada de eso. Honestamente, él ha ayudado a muchas personas y sigue ayudando, ha sido una bendición. Así que no, él no cobra, solamente variadas y pupusas. So, si tienen alguna pregunta, lo pueden hacer. It says here, thank you. Yes, I wish you worked in Syracuse, New York.
Oh, yeah. No worries. If you ever think about living in Massachusetts, let me know.
Yes. ¿Y cuál es it? ¿Y yo le cocino qué?
Lo que tú quieras.
Lo que tú quieras. Y tú cocinas muy bueno, así que, no, pero cuando quieran, ¿verdad? Pueden consultar con él. Él se sienta con ustedes, hace su consulta, ¿verdad? Y ustedes pueden, ¿verdad? Hacerle la pregunta. And Lynette, even though you live in Syracuse, if you have any questions, you can definitely just speak because...
Right. If you're getting like weird quotes or weird numbers, if you think that something's off, always feel free to reach out.
Yes.
Mortgage lending is pretty much the same in every state. We all follow the same federal guidelines.
Yes. Maybe different. What would be the difference?
Different first-time home buy programs. Maybe like debt to income ratios might be different or things like that, income limits. But we all have the same guidelines we have to follow.
Okay. So there you go. You can definitely, ask the questions. He'll definitely, I'm not sure if you want to give out your number, your business number.
Yeah, but I do have my business number. Can you type in the chat?
Can you type in the chat his business number?
Yeah,
Lynette will
put it as a comment.
We'll put it there, his business number. Vamos a poner el número de teléfono de Marcos, de su, ¿verdad? De su oficina, para que ustedes puedan llamarlo.
617-733-7257.
They're putting it right there. Dice aquí, Cynthia, tengo una pregunta. Dice,
for commercial.
¿Este es solo para casa o también algo comercial, like for commercial loans?
So commercial loans have their own guidelines. So those you're not going to get at 3% down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, most likely you're not going to. A lot of commercial, from what I understand from my bank, is going to be about 15 to 20%.
Okay, Cynthia. So, sí, los programas comerciales son diferentes que lo residencial. Y usualmente, pues, ellos piden como un 15% de down payment. Pero, mira, Cynthia, también tú puedes preguntar, ¿verdad? Esa pregunta a Marcos, ¿verdad? Para que él pueda asesorarte un poquito más.
We have commercial lending at my bank, so I can get you referred over.
Awesome. Si no, el banco, obviamente, del TCB tiene diferentes, ¿verdad? Loan officers, residencial y también comercial. Espero que, ¿verdad? Que este momento han sido de mucha información para ustedes. Nosotros, el último miércoles de cada mes, the last Wednesday of every month, we're going to be doing podcasts, Heavenly Conversations. Y vamos a estar hablando de temas que, como le dije, que no se hablan dentro de la iglesia, porque obviamente es difícil tener estas cosas, ¿verdad? Hablar así en las iglesias. Entonces, por eso que nosotros lo hacemos así. Hablar de temas que realmente son muy relevantes. It says here, can you share your number again, please?
Yep, so it's 617-733-7257.
Did you put it on the chat?
Yeah, let's see it pop up in the chat.
Okay, now I need to...
Okay. Ahí está en el chat. His number is there in the chat as well. Y llámenlo if you have any questions.
Yep, that is a self, so you can text as well.
I don't see why it's not popping up. Over here, I don't see it. The number.
I wonder if I can join in.
Because we're going to close up this segment now. It's 8:31. We're going to close it up. But we want to make sure that you have his number. It's not popping up. Let's see. Qué bueno es esta iniciativa, pastora. Gracias, mi hermano Daniel. Eso es lo que queremos hacer. Poder nosotros darles a ustedes todo tipo de recursos. You know, mira, we're blessed to have you, Marcus. Thank you. Y ahí está el número de teléfono. Por favor, siéntense en la libertad. The number is right there. Feel free to reach out. You know, we're blessed also to have Glorimar as a real estate agent. So, right. You know.
In-house agent.
Yes. So once you finish, you know, with a loan officer, then, you know, you can work with a really good real estate agent, and who better than a child of God, you know? So, muy buena información. Muchas gracias, Pastora y Marcos. Gracias a ustedes que tomaron de su tiempo. Thank you all for joining us tonight. And again, we're excited to talk about these topics and to educate. The Bible says, mira, dice la Biblia que por falta de conocimiento el pueblo perece, ¿verdad? And if you don't have knowledge, then you won't know, and you're not, you know, you won't pursue all these things. Entonces, por eso que hablamos de estos temas. Para mí no hay gasto de tiempo, es una bendición poder darles a ustedes todos los recursos posibles, y Dios nos ha dado muchos recursos.
Definitely. I love sharing the information as well.
Yes. So thank you, Marcus. Thank you again,
Thank
Papa,
you.
for taking your time. Gracias a todos. En esta noche nosotros vamos a cerrar, ¿verdad? Con una oración. I always like to end it up with a prayer, you know, and just thanking God. Y bendiciéndolos a ustedes, que los que están, ¿verdad? Buscando su casa, ¿verdad? Que están anhelando tener su propia casa, su propio lugar donde usted dice, esto es mío, ¿verdad? Pues que Dios se lo conceda, que Dios se lo conceda y que los bendiga, ¿verdad? Pero hay que prepararnos también. Así que, Padre, te damos gracias por esta noche, gracias por este momento, Señora, donde hemos hablado de cosas, de temas, Señor, que son relevantes, Señor amado, a tu reino, Señor, porque tú quieres bendecirnos en todo sentido de la palabra, tanto en salud, Señor, como en bendecirnos, ¿verdad? En la área financiera también. Señor, tú dices en tu palabra que tú quieres que nosotros prosperemos en todo. Así que, Padre, gracias por cada hermano, amigo que se conectó. Gracias por Marcos, Señor. Gracias por este recurso, Señor, que tú nos has dado a nosotros, Señor, para hablarle a tu pueblo, Señor, y darle conocimiento y recursos para que ellos puedan, Señor, obtener, Señor, ese sueño, y es de tener su propia casa. Lo bendecimos a todos ellos, Señor amado, en el nombre de Jesús. Amén y amén. Muchísimas gracias a todos. Que descansen.
Have a good night, y'all.